2,848.86 meters. Does the number ring a bell? It was in the news a couple of months back, just for your information. Okay. What if you were to climb Burj Al Khalifas for 11 times straight, that too via stairs, up and down? Daunting, right? For those who might be wondering, why is Nupur talking all gibberish today? This is nothing, or this can be nothing related to somebody. Mm, just hold on. Because this is the height of the highest peak in the world, Mount Everest. And it has a very deep association with the individual we'll be talking to today. The number itself is so intimidating that one can only imagine the actual deed, right? But there is a young fellow, mind me, young fellow who not only plans to scale this height next year, but is also planning to break taboos related to career options, definition of happiness, independence, and not only this, is buoyant about his take on environment and minimalism. Please welcome with me Mr. Harshvardhan Joshi today, an ardent and resilient man in his 20s who is charting new chapters for everyone. Welcome, Harsh. It's lovely to have you with us today. I hope this time suits you and your tough regime.
Yes, Nupur, it's my pleasure being here.
Perfect, perfect. I typically ask people how are they, how have they been, but with you having a little bit of understanding of your regular fitness goals, etc., I think without further pleasantries, we can dive into your story directly. So let's start, Harsh, by knowing a bit about you. Maybe I would love the viewers to take a moment or to know more about who Harshvardhan Joshi is as an individual.
So, I'm a 24-year-old outdoor professional. I'm an IT engineer by education, endurance athlete by passion, but climbing in the Himalayas, if not skiing or kayaking or spending time with my cats. So, I'm really passionate about bringing professionalism into adventure tourism in the Indian Himalayas while keeping sustainability at priority.
Interesting, interesting. And I'm sure as we uncover different chapters of your life and your journey till date, we are going to come across lots of other flavors. So you just mentioned that you love cats. So don't your cats miss you when you are away for weeks or months? As you, I know, have been very regularly visiting the mountains.
My parents take good care of them, and I think the reason I have cats are because they are very independent. I won't call them selfish, but it's
Okay.
like we serving them and they are like gods.
Oh, okay. That's a nice take on cats. I would say one of the most positive ones I've heard till date. So tell us more about your love for mountains.
So a lot of people who meet me now, they think that I was an athletic kid since forever. But I come from a very humble background with a very sedentary teenage and young life, like a background in IT. When I was 15, I started working. I would assemble and sell computers. And during that time, I met a group of doctors whom I was selling computers who were into trekking.
Okay.
So they took me for a hike in a nearby wildlife sanctuary where I train every day. In fact, just few hours ago I was there. And back then they also invited me to Everest while I was a 15-year-old kid. And I found it very expensive, 70,000 INR. Actually, they
Okay.
were going, it was in 2011, and they were going to Everest Base Camp. Back then, I didn't even know that it's base camp. And I was busy enjoying my entrepreneur teenage life with all the college friends. And then coming back to my second year of engineering in the summer of 2015, I came across this website named YHAI, Youth Hostel Association of India, and it seemed super affordable, like
Yeah.
very exhilarating experiences at very affordable prices. So I decided to travel to some trekking destinations solo, And
Mhm.
while I go there, let's say in Rajasthan or Uttarakhand, I would spend a week before my trekking expedition, and after it, exploring
Mhm.
the nearby villages or towns, spending a week before and after to learn the culture. And that is how my love for travel and adventure began. I realized my calling.
I agree. YHAI is a wonderful organization, a great platform, and having had some opportunities to go on a couple of treks with them, I can vouch or I can totally correlate with what you just mentioned. So, Harsh, it's interesting to know how you were just like anybody, a sedan, like a typical lad who is not very focused as far as fitness, etc., is concerned. But then there was this great opportunity to have a trekking experience. Then YHAI came by, and gradually and slowly you started developing or exploring your own calling. So, when did you decide to pursue this love and passion of yours full time?
So you are very right. I was basically just another engineer. That's the best way to put it. And until 2016, my plan was to pursue MS in US, like the
Okay.
most straightforward option for a common man in India to
Mm-hmm.
upgrade their lifestyle to aim for a better life. But with my journeys in the Himalayas, I
Mm-hmm.
realized that I don't want to be in technology all my life. Then I was preparing for my MBA in marketing. I appeared for the entrances of most premier B schools in India. I even secured admission in a few. But
Okay.
my parents and many of my MBA friends told me that
Mm-hmm.
my life is much better in the Himalayas, and I should chase my dreams rather than going for those so-called dream jobs. Like they were in the
Mm-hmm.
positions which I would aspire to be in someday, but they told me that it is the corporate culture is very stressful, maybe sometimes toxic and not worth it for me. And they really motivated me to start something in the Himalayas, around impact tourism or sustainability or mountaineering. And I was fortunate to create a valuable network through my different experiences through YHA and all other mountain trips. So that is how my career switch happened with the love and passion for outdoors.
That's actually true because being a part of the corporate, I can agree with a lot of your friends and whosoever recommended you that it's actually a stressful world. But yes, people like me who are passionate about being in corporates, it is where we need to be. You just had a 360 degree shift from an MBA college aspirant, mountaineer altogether. So, wasn't there any resistance from your family? So, tell us something about that phase.
I come from a very humble background, from a typical lower middle class family, and that is one reason why I always craved to travel. My family would just take me for pilgrimages or to my extended families in Jaipur once a year. Now I have found my calling, so my parents never stopped me from venturing out on my voyages. Like since I was independent since I was 15, I was wiser and more responsible than most at my age. I had gained their
That's
trust
nice.
over the years, so they had nothing to worry about. Nor I was being a burden on them financially. In fact, they were very proud, and they in fact supported some of my trips financially. Since anyways, most of my trips were very economical due to my research and planning. Backpacking is
Okay.
very affordable in India.
Since your parents were finally on board, I think you made the right choice because I would also say that I am envious listening about you or hearing about you. But yeah, different people, different callings. So now coming to one of your latest feats, I read and during the process, as we were interacting earlier, we came across the fact that you completed the solo Ironman triathlon during the pandemic. So why that? That's really incredible when everybody was either struggling to just figure out things. You actually thought that, okay, let me just go and do something. And that too, not a something normal one, but a triathlon. So why don't you elaborate a bit about this achievement of yours?
So, an Ironman triathlon, for those who don't know, is a series of long distance triathlon races organized by World Triathlon Corporation, which
Mhm.
includes three disciplines: swimming,
Yeah.
followed by cycling, followed by running, a
Mhm.
marathon run, raced in that order. I
Mhm.
always wanted to be an Ironman, and I had signed up for Ironman 70.3 race happening in Goa during
Mhm.
November 2020. Before this,
Okay.
most of the Ironman races would happen in US and Europe, which was a very expensive affair, and I couldn't plan it. I couldn't do it. I
Mhm.
was gonna do it in November 2020, just after my Everest expedition, and
Mhm.
then the Everest expedition was called off on 15th March due to the
Yeah.
pandemic. And I thought I would focus on this Ironman goal. And
Yeah.
then just a week later, the lockdown happened. So being a good citizen, I did not step outside my home for next 2 months. I signed up for the Ironman race on March 24th, uh,
Okay.
the same morning when the registrations opened, and I thought I would now focus on this. Otherwise, I was just gonna do it as a fun thing, just
Okay.
complete it for namesake, post Everest as a challenge. And then after 70 days in June, when I started stepping out, I started preparing for it, and around the end of July, even the race was called off.
Yeah. I remember.
So after that, I still continued my training, and towards the end of September 2020, I
Mhm.
one day when I was riding on one of the Ironman routes in Colorado for my training,
Okay.
I use a virtual smart trainer on
Oh,
which
okay.
it simulates the same race routes out there. So
Mhm.
after that, I had to switch back to my Everest specific training plan for next 6 months, leading up to my Everest climb next summer. And I just
Mhm.
thought that what if I can squeeze in a self supported, solo, organized race with the same
Mhm.
rules, same distance, somewhere in between. I quickly Googled maps and everything. I made a swift plan of the lakes and highways where I can attempt that. I
Mhm.
sent that plan to my coach in California that, hey, I really want to do this. I think I can do it, and if I don't do it now, the race is pushed to next 1 year later, and I don't know if I would have time next year. So he said, yes, okay, fine, if you really want to go for it, it's just like a long training day, no harm in trying, and the rest is history. I really enjoyed the day, and I still think that organizing it was much more difficult than racing it. And I did it on World Mental Health Awareness Day on October 10th.
Wow.
So coming to that, like in lockdown, a lot of people, including me, I was the heaviest throughout my life during lockdown. It wasn't a lot, it was just 3-4 kgs extra, but it was the heaviest I have been. And then I started from the scratch and became an Ironman, and my goal was just that if it motivates anyone to go for a run who has never run in their life, or go for a walk, nothing is gonna make me happier if they get motivated by this millennials experience of becoming an Ironman.
So, a couple of things I could like, I would take away from this. One, you are also moving towards digitalization to a great extent because just the way you mentioned that you had a coach based out of California and you practiced and trained yourself in a virtual environment. So that shows how we all are moving. And this is a very interesting way or use of technology, I must say.
And it's
So,
more accurate, it's very scientific. So when we train on those routes, we actually have much more accurate data to analyze and perform better, and we can
okay.
simulate the hills which are not accessible. You save a
Oh.
lot of time, and
Mhm.
I can race on the same route in Goa or Europe where I'm gonna go next year. I can even race with my friends like you. It's just like PlayStation, but you are
Oh, okay.
using the same amount of energy and everything.
That's nice. And you did talk about the fact that since it was lockdown and you had your own limitations, and planning was one of the things to successfully overcome this entire phase. So, why don't you talk more about how did you plan, prepare, and finally execute this entire thing? Because I'm sure this it's a great episode to be shared, because while we all think about doing a lot of things, I think at the end of the day, a lot of us become lethargic, or we keep on procrastinating, saying, okay, this is not
Hmm.
working out, that is not working out. So, yeah, would love to know more about that.
So I'll start with swimming. Swimming,
Mhm.
everything was closed. Uh, all the swimming pools were closed.
I
One
agree.
of my friends, I was just running and cycling. For
Mhm.
running, I got a treadmill finally in June. First two
Okay.
months, I had ordered a treadmill in April after thinking over it for a month. That what if during the pandemic I have to sell the investment for a survival? But then I thought that no, this is my life and it's worth the investment. It's okay. And then I finally purchased a treadmill. One of the brands supported me with a heavy discount,
Okay.
and then the logistics company closed down. So I received my treadmill on June 12th. I started running. Earlier, my plan was for the Ironman race, I would just borrow some friend's bike and do the race. Ideally, you
Mhm.
should train a lot on the bike in advance, but
Okay.
that was my plan. And I finally got a second-hand bike from Kolkata all the way to Mumbai in
Okay.
July. That is how first my running and then my cycling was sorted. I swim since a lot of years, but I mostly swim in my swimming pools, and I'm not an efficient swimmer. Plus,
Okay.
I'm a slow swimmer.
Okay.
I spend a lot of energy, still don't cover enough distance. While endurance I am fine, but swimming is more about technique. In August, one of my friend from my town would invite me to his place for swimming. He has a swimming pool at his place, and they
Okay.
are a family of medical professionals, doctors.
Oh.
So I
Mhm.
was scared. I was like, your life is more important than mine right now, and maybe I still kept procrastinating that I was maintaining social distancing, but then it is a house pool, nobody else uses it, and they were so generous. They told me it's okay if we don't swim, it's more important for you to train. And
Mhm.
they came forward to support me. Also, I read at a lot of places that coronavirus cannot spread in water, so swimming is completely safe. And then
Yeah,
in
it is.
August, I started swimming. I was very slow, but
Mhm.
my coach, who was in California, he helped me get better. And that time we didn't even know that
Okay.
I'm gonna do this Ironman thing. We were just training for fun, maybe for an year
Okay.
later, because November one was also called off. And then
Yeah, I
suddenly I
remember.
told in September end that I want to do it in the next 10 days. And swimming was the most stressful part, that what if I
Mhm.
don't make it in the cutoff time. But I made it in 69 minutes, the 1.9 kilometer swim, and 70 minutes
Wow.
was the cutoff. Although nobody was really bothered about it, but I wanted to do it in that time. My coach told me that, hey, it's not a race, do it as you wish. But then I it won't boost my confidence enough for the future. And then everything fell in place on October 10th. 10 days later, I wanted to do it in the next 2 3 days, but my coach
Mhm.
told me that you need to taper and give me at least 10 days. You have never swam long enough. You started swimming just 4 weeks ago. I would also quickly want to share about my coach, since a lot of people might be wondering how it works. So
Yeah.
wear our Garmin or other smart devices which
Mhm.
track all our metrics, and we also wear a heart rate monitor on our chest. So any coach, they are like doctors. Some of them are literally sports medicine professionals, and they don't have
Mhm.
to be around. So they see your data, that how you are performing, how you are recovering, not just the time and speed and how did you perform, but how much effort and how is your body recovering, and accordingly they sustainably take you forward. Because this is a very high volume sport and you don't want any injuries. Plus you need to do a lot of structured workouts to do three disciplines together simultaneously.
I
So
agree.
those guidance helps a lot. And my coach is an Indian. He's from Delhi, but he's in California since past
Okay.
12 years. And he wants
Oh.
to promote the sport in India. He is also an engineer. He is also doing a boring job like many of us.
Okay.
He does this over weekends using science and technology.
Oh, all right, all right. Yes, having the right coach, I think, definitely adds or is instrumental in the success of anybody, be it a sport, be it corporate, be it school, be it college. You need a guide who can actually help you skip the what we say potholes and have a
Hmm.
smoother ride. So remarkable is the only word I would like to say, hearing all that you've just mentioned. So since we are talking so much about your regime, your plans to, or how you actually ended up doing this solo triathlon, and your love for Everest. So why don't you share with us, how did you actually decide upon, or decide about, okay, I would like to go for Everest expedition. So where did this idea come in from? Why, like, I am really curious to know more about that.
So back when I did my first mountaineering course, my basic mountaineering course back in 2016, I
Mhm.
thought, yeah, I would climb Everest one day. It's just a
Okay.
matter of time. I didn't know when, but I whatever I get into, I want to do it passionately, to the extent of a pro. So
Uh,
my life's motto is to keep targeting stuff which are the
mhm.
epitome of success, but which cannot be achieved just by financial success. There needs to be greater hard work, with which comes a more interesting and greater journey. So, since it is a very expensive endeavor, most of us
Mhm.
are unable to gather the courage to attempt it. And many a times those dreams get lost. But in
Mhm.
2017, when I graduated from my engineering and I was looking at colleges for MBA, I was planning my next few years around the mountaineering courses, such that I can
Okay.
finish my mountaineering courses as well as Everest somewhere without missing on the MBA. I even took
Okay.
a gap year to finish some more mountaineering courses, during
Mhm.
which I realized that maybe Everest can be my MBA. Like now, when I'm
Yeah.
attempting preparing for Everest, I'm
Nice thought.
learning.
Nice thought.
Yeah,
Everest can be
like
my MBA.
I would learn a lot of life lessons and also other practical lessons, whether it's marketing, finance, PR, operations. During that, and MBA is also very expensive these days. So maybe I can invest the same amount in Everest, whatever I can. And that is how in 2017-18 I decided. And finally in 2018 I told my parents that I'm gonna go climb Everest, and they were very cool about it.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. So why don't you tell us, or just elaborate a bit about the type of preparations you've been doing for this expedition? Because I'm aware it's actually a very difficult task, and you cannot just prepare or train for a couple of months and be ready to, okay, I'm going to go for Everest. So would love to know more about that.
Yeah, some people invest much lesser time, but I would want to over prepare and go with the flow, since my life is at stake out there, and it's a big amount, and I would want to do it right. I would want to enjoy out there. So the more I train here, the more I can enjoy the views and experience there. And since past 5 years, I did like 9 courses in outdoors and mountaineering, most of which from Ministry of Defense institutes. So
Oh,
I
wow.
think these mountaineering courses are a great way for anyone to start, because they take you to another level by pushing your limits. And since 2016, I spend around 3 to 7 months every year, every summer in the Himalayas, climbing, sometimes even guiding, anything which is taking me closer to Everest. So I'm mostly based out of Ladakh during summers,
Okay.
and I work around impact tourism there. Like I'm a mountain guide for some 6,000-meter mountains, and
Oh, okay.
I have also had the privilege to be a mountain guide for one of the Indian Air Force winter expeditions in 2018. And during winters, when I'm not climbing mountains, I'm either skiing in Gulmarg, Kashmir, or I'm running around Mumbai, or doing marathons, Mumbai marathons, and everything else. uh, and currently, specifically for Everest, I am following a scientific training plan from Uphill Athlete. So they are
Mm-hmm.
like the pioneers of scientific training for mountaineering, how
Okay.
Olympians are cycling coaches and everything. So I have been following this plan also in 2019 for 24 weeks
Mm-hmm.
leading up to Everest Spring 2020. And I really enjoy the discipline and consistency around here. Like you said, ki coaches take you way ahead. What I would achieve in 4 years,
I
when you
agree.
do it scientifically in a structured way with people's guidance, you get
Hmm.
much farther in 6 months. So that saves me a lot of time.
That's nice. And you know what? I'm moving from that category of being envious of you to a category of being jealous of you. But jokes apart, I feel
I thought you would say something more easier, that you are just inspired, and I would thank you. But
no,
this is
no,
also
no.
like makes me
Uh,
happy.
I'm actually turning more green in the color of being jealous, but
Green is
but
environment friendly.
I feel astounding is the word uh, that I can just think of listening to how dedicatedly you are working towards it. Uh, Given the fact that you've chosen to do mountaineering courses, it shows that you're just not doing something out of the blue. There's a clear path, clarity in your thought process, um, and hats off, I would say, because at your age to have that much of clarity, it's really nice to hear, and I feel it would be really wonderful for anybody who will be hearing this from you. And the little bit of, or I should say, the very meager knowledge I have of trekking and mountaineering, I know this for sure. None of these certifications are an easy task. So, really, I would again say congratulations. And I know there's a long way ahead. You have great plans for your future, but congratulations on what you have already achieved. That itself is really impressive.
Thank you so much. I really enjoy this journey. So for me, it's not really hard work. I'm just having fun.
That's actually a very beautiful way to put it across. But yeah, I think it's also because of your personality. Because as you mentioned, since 15, you've tried to be independent. You are trying to take care of your own responsibilities. You're trying to be more independent financially. Also, that gave confidence to your parents too. So I think it's a good combination that's working in your interest altogether. So Harsh, you have got into a totally offbeat charter, and I read you have some more ideas associated with your expedition, which are not only with regard to your aim of scaling that high, but you would like to inspire people around you through your journey. So would love to know more about those objectives as well. Any specific message you would like to share with the society?
So you are right. I want to test my limits and inspire the masses that if I
Mm-hmm.
can do it, so can you. Like with my endeavor, I'll be able to reach much more people and inspire them. Like I said earlier, to make them go for a run or something. I'm doing this for my love for climbing, but I'm also doing this to show the world that we don't need to live in excess anymore. While climbing Everest with bare minimum, while following minimalism. And
Yeah.
I wanted to promote something which I really care about, some cause which I can relate to, and just
Yeah.
create awareness about it. And that is sustainable development. I think that is one
Okay.
thing which can solve a lot of issues which the world is facing right now, about economy, about climate change, about global warming, about education, about everything.
I
And
agree.
the United Nations has drafted 17 sustainable development goals. Among them one is promote the use of renewable energy.
Oh,
So my
okay.
expedition is promoting the use of solar energy.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to be completely solar, to
Okay.
send a message that if I can use solar energy at the most versatile place on earth. Maybe it would send a good example for people to make conscious choices at their comfort zones in urban environments to create a carbon offset in the future. So by scaling Everest with bare minimum using solar power
Mhm.
and utilizing the resources we have to the maximum, I can motivate the world to transform
Wow.
into efficient, caring individuals, become the force which nurtures our nature. We have the power, and I'm going to demonstrate it. Let's just change the definition of a millennium.
Wow, wow. What a pure thought. And I would say so many things you are trying to achieve. Minimalism, use of solar energy. I'm sure Modi ji would also be proud of that fact. And sustainable development, trying to show that it's not that difficult if you want to do it. And yeah, all that at such a young age. I'm sure you being able to see such a big picture at your age, and not only that, you're also aiming to do something about it to bring more consciousness, more awareness about it. That's really commendable. So, coming back to your expedition, from a little bit of knowledge I have, I know that Everest expedition is a costly affair. So, if I may ask, how much is it?
It's a minimum of 50,000 US dollars, even if you do
Oh,
it in the most minimal manner.
wow,
Like
wow.
the
That's
permits for Nepal government itself cost around over 10 lakh rupees.
oh, okay. That's a big amount. So if I talk in INR, 50,000 USD would be
42 lakh rupees.
whoa. And I'm sure by next year we can round, like we can take a comfortable round figure of 50 lakhs. So that's a
Yeah. If this is apart from training and photography and everything else.
oh,
Like I've
okay.
already dedicated past few years, so my income, my time, my career, and all is at stake. Plus, I invest a lot more in my
Mhm.
training, but that is subjective from person to person. So this is
Okay.
just from Delhi to Delhi or Kathmandu to Kathmandu, just for those 2 months, the 40 lakh rupees.
Okay, okay. So I'm sure that, so then definitely let's look at that whole number of 50 lakhs. How are you
Hmm.
doing it? Because see, we all are working and we try to not burden our parents with our dreams. So is somebody else supporting you? You are leveraging your own savings. How are you managing the entire thing? Because it's really a big amount.
I sold my parents' house.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
okay.
And my parents don't have that kind of money. So I've
Okay.
created a campaign named Sangharsh Mission Mount Everest.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I've created a story that most of my audience is international. So I tell them that Sangharsh is a Hindi or ancient Sanskrit word, which means conquest. And this is the story of Harsh's Sangharsh to reach 29,029 feet from 0 feet, highest point on earth from sea level near Mumbai. And since
Mm-hmm.
I'm a software guy, I've developed a fundraising website named Sangharsh.co,
Wow.
using which I have already raised 18.5 lakh rupees, which is like 50% of my goal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also trying to connect with potential sponsors, donors, brands, corporates, and foundations. So every week I write over 100 emails and LinkedIn messages to get reply for a few. It is difficult, but nothing good comes easy, and I'm enjoying the journey thoroughly. The learning experience is very rich, and I'm sure that it is going to work out. I don't know how. I have just 3 months to go, but I am happy that a lot of people feel inspired from my story, and I'm motivated to donate to my campaign, which keeps me going.
That's really nice, and I'm already getting goosebumps listening to your thought process. That okay, let money not be my biggest obstacle over here. So I would just like to call out, take a moment and call out to everybody viewing this. Please take a moment and visit sangharsh.co. Am I right? That's
Yes, yes.
Okay, so please take a moment and visit Harsha's website, sangarsh.co. And yeah, then it's up to you if you would like to.
Just check it out. Even if you feel like participating, it's great. But
Yeah,
even if you feel inspired and go to climb Everest yourself, I'll be happy enough.
perfect, perfect. So that's nice. And when is this scheduled, Harsh? I remember you mentioning it's set for next year. So any particular
Yeah,
date?
I'm supposed to leave on 1st April 2021, and it takes 2 months to climb Everest. So I'll
Okay.
hopefully be back after successfully climbing. I'll be safely back around 30 May or 1st June 2021. And I
Mm-hmm.
was scheduled to leave on 1st April 2020, but
Mm-hmm.
15 days prior to that, the pandemic was like it
I
called off
know,
the
I know. A dear pandemic, if I have to put it that way. It.
but I'm happy with 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I made the most of this year, and I made sure that I'll do stuff in this year which will take me few years further. So I trained in such a way that I would climb more mountains in the same amount of time in the future. I picked up a new language. I'm learning French. I got a
Wow.
postgraduate diploma in marketing, and I'm living a good life. I'm working 8 hours a day. People see my Instagram stories and they think that Harsh only runs every morning and swims and chills with his cats. But I cook every day. I practice French every day, and I also do a lot of boring stuff in front of the blue screen for many hours every day.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's nice. And I think, yeah, I can say this for sure. While a lot of us missed 2020, cribbing about the fact that we can't go out, yeah, this is bad, that is bad. A lot of us, like yourself, did utilize it to the best of our capabilities. And I'm aware a lot of people have gone ahead, pursued their own dreams, or maybe the long waited desires or some hobbies that they were just trying to find out time for.
Or they have at least transformed their lives. Like some pick meditation. I see a lot of friends
Mhm.
who didn't work out all their life. Even now, they had all the excuses. They don't have any fancy equipment at their place. They don't have a gym or pool or even
Yeah.
weights. Just with a yoga mat or just on the floor, they did exercises and they have lost like 15-20 kg. Some people have become like motivational figures in bodybuilding and everything. So I just suggest everyone that pick one thing passionately, preferably a sport which takes care of your health or your life, because it exercise is the best medicine. And when you work out, it might also solve a lot of mental health issues. It would make you more money because it brings out a lot of creativity. It gives you more energy to work more. People make excuses that I don't have time to do something because of work. But if you see most leaders in the corporate, most
Yeah.
CEOs, they are really into Iron Man these days. But even otherwise, they do climb mountains. They do visit
Yeah.
specifically Himalayas a lot on treks where there is no network, because even they know the value of those experiences. Like even you go on a lot of treks, maybe to make more money.
No, 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 no. I
I'm
think
just kidding.
I can correlate with that fact that going to that zone of no network, because that's personally my favorite. No network zone, so no WhatsApp, no calls, no messages, no cut, or I would say no touch with the entire world. So you are just left with your own time to introspect and just be with yourself.
You guys can follow my climb live on my social media channels, because
Perfect.
I'm going to share my experiences every day as much as possible.
Great, great. So I think I would definitely love to get glued to the screen that time. So
Mhm.
now that since we are just moving towards the conclusion of the entire conversation and this chit chat, would you like to say something on a concluding note to everybody? I already, I would say that we've heard so much about being organized, your take on minimalism, your focus on sustainable development, or I would say environment. But yes, something apart from this for just a common, or I would say somebody like Harsh before the now Harsh or the current Harsh. So something you would like to say.
I didn't really think about this, but now that I think one golden advice which I can give anyone, whether that person is 15-year-old or 50-year-old, just go out on a solo trip for over 10 days in the Himalayas, maybe Ladakh or Spiti or somewhere remote, not popular, and make it solo. Trust me, if you go in a group of friends or 3 or 10, you can get bored or you can feel lonely, but when you are solo you are never going to be alone, because you will have to interact with a lot of people. You will learn a lot of stuff, and that is one good advice which I can give. And then there are a lot of quotes around it, that real beauty begins where roads end. So I would want you to go on a trek for 2-3 days in nature. That may be with someone else, with a group, with a stranger group or something, with someone like Youth Hostel Association of India, YHI, because that is something most of us are not experienced to do solo safely. And that is one good advice which I can give. Rest about making sustainable choices, taking care of your health, following your passion, and everything is already discussed in this video. And if you go for a run, try to share it with me. I'll be happier and I'll be encouraged to run more, thinking that people are also running with me, looking at me and going for a run, which is uplifting their life, which is changing the quality of their life. So that makes me really happy.
Wow. Thank you so much, Harsh. That's really very sweet of you. And I would say I am really looking forward to seeing comments from the viewers. And I'm sure this particular conversation has been one of the most exciting ones and most inspiring ones for both me and the viewers today. So, with this, we come to an end of another interesting chapter from the common lives of people like you and me. And I would once again like to take a moment to thank you, Harsh, for giving TMS, That's My Story, this opportunity to share your story with everybody. To
It was my pleasure. I had more fun than you and your viewers, and I am looking forward to the next talk we are gonna have after I come back from Everest.
Perfect, perfect. Same here, same pinch. Uh, so, with this, I would just like to conclude by saying that it's commonly said, make your passion your profession, right? And then nobody would feel tired. However, today talking to you makes me realize one thing, and this goes for everybody out there, that making a profession or making a passion a profession is the best thing, but it is not a cakewalk. Dedication, discipline, and determination are key. So, to close today's conversation reminds me of the fact that if we have the will to make it big or to pursue our dreams, nothing can actually stop us. Because the word impossible also says, I am possible. So, thank you, everyone. Thanks, Harsh. And stay connected. We would come back again with another interesting story soon. And till then, stay safe and take care. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.